Welcome everybody. Here we are in another of our book gatherings for Inside Out Transformation, the book. I'm absolutely delighted to have a friend, colleague, mentor, partner, all sorts of labels I could give you, Gabby, but it's just amazing to be able to connect with you in this way, and grateful for having you be part of the book.
Yes, fabulous book.
Yeah. No, thank you. It was a joy, and really grateful because you took time to really read over your chapter, I remember, and go through it with a fine-tooth comb and make sure it was just exactly how you wanted it to be. So really grateful about that, for that. Am I going to give you a little bit of a bio introduction, or are we just going to say that you've been around for quite a long time in the field of the three principles? You don't, I mean, we're just saying Benjamin Button comes to mind when we don't get you, but to say that it's been 30 plus years that you've been in the field,
I know.
Doesn't seem possible. It doesn't seem possible, but it's true, right? Yeah, working with individual organizations. You've been doing this work for a long time, and I know what's really alive for you at the moment is the topic of change. And it seems, I don't know, do you want to talk about that? No, what we said we'd do, I'm going to read out a quote that you chose at the beginning of your chapter, and then I'd love for you to expand a bit more on what's alive for you right now, and what you're up to. Sure. So, and this is all before, as promised on the advertising, we will be having a live coaching session very shortly, but I just want Gabby to have a 5 minutes to introduce herself properly. So the quote that you chose at the beginning of your chapter is from The Missing Link by Sydney Banks. Throughout time, human beings have experienced insights that spontaneously and completely change their behavior and their lives, bringing them happiness they previously had thought impossible. Why did you choose that, Gab?
That's my favorite quote, probably of all the books from Sid. I remember starting to read The Missing Link a long time ago, like one of the, I don't know if it's one of the first copies, but this is a very old book. And I was reading the book, and when I came to that page, which is only page 4, I was looking at it this morning, I stopped reading it because it created such an impact in my life. I had studied psychology, clinical psychology, and what I knew about change was not that. I had studied what was being taught at the time, which was last century, literally, which was change is difficult, change is hard. You know, if you have clients that are going to come up to you to work with, it's going to take a long time. And so this just opened a whole new universe, really, for me, which was, well, actually, due to the nature of the human experience, psychologically, really change is possible at any moment. And so that really has been the foundation for my practice. And more recently, this last year and a half, it's really taken hold in a very unique way. And so I'm just dedicating myself to working with people that are going through change, because we're all going through change, and the changes that we're going through are so monumental, seems like to me, and quick. And so one of the things that I really want to bring to the table is this understanding that actually change is something that we experience from the very beginning of our lives. I mean, from the very beginning of our lives, we go from like 2 cells to 1 to like 24 million cells, billion cells, right? And on and on and on. So I think it's fundamental for us to understand that the reason why we experience change with such dread and discomfort is because we have a paradigm of change that positions it as difficult, comfortable, and hard, that this paradigm is old, but it's super well accepted worldwide. And so this little quote for me is the door opener to the fact that we actually are prepared and able to deal with any change that comes our way. So that's been my flag this last couple of years, this idea of sharing with anyone and everyone worldwide. Listen, I know that there are some times that change might feel particularly difficult and hard and impossible to come up with a resolution, but actually because of our nature, we are capable and able to transit through change. And so that's why I love that little quote so much, Sheila.
Beautiful. And I'm so grateful that you see that about change, because when I emailed you or messaged you a couple of days ago and said, hey, how do you feel about changing the session a little bit? I've never done it this way before. How do you feel about coaching somebody live on the session? You were up for it. So very grateful that you're open to seeing what happens on this session. And as you pointed out to me, you know, it's 30 minutes. It's a very short period of time. So none of us know what's going to happen, but anything's possible, right? And time's not a real thing. So let's see what happens in 30 minutes. We had a few people put their hand up when I sent out the email, and the first person that answered me was Flora. And Flora is here. I can see you. Welcome, Flora. We don't know each other yet, and don't know if you know Gabby. Do you know Gabby? Would you feel free unmute yourself and yeah. So Flora, I think you said to me you're based in Greece.
In Greece, yes.
Yeah. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering to be coached live on this session in front of everybody. We really appreciate that, because I know it's not always the easiest thing to be live with an audience, but we will all stay muted, and I'm going to hand it over to you, Gabby. I don't think there's anything else you want me to do to set the table. I think you can take it from here. You know what you're doing. So I'll keep time. We said we'd go for 30 to 40 minutes, and I'll let you know at the 30-minute mark. And then after that, we'll have some time for questions, if anybody has any questions for Gabby. Okay, take it away, Gab.
Thank you.
Hi,
Laura. How are you? Thank you for sharing.
Okay. Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect. I can hear you. Perfect.
That's fine. I have to keep these on, and I'm hearing everything twice at the moment, but I'll be okay.
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 Well, so I wanted to ask you, what is it that you would like to explore today? And also, if you had any goals or any dreams or any hopes for today's mini session.
Yeah, I think some clarity. Yesterday, when this message came through, I answered straight away. I was really upset and angry about something yesterday, and I had a suspicion that I need to look at how I react to things differently, if possible. Sometimes I don't trust how I'm feeling. Is it just the thoughts gone crazy, or is it appropriate that I feel the way that I feel? Really angry, really upset, really confused. And so I feel better a bit today about the situation, but I kind of want to go over this, just these feelings that I've been having. It's about a relationship I'm in. And so some clarity about where I'm coming from here would be really good.
So is it clarity about your relationship, or is it clarity about the way that you react? Because a little while ago you said you had the suspicion. Is that what you said? You had the suspicion?
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it the feeling, or is it the relationship? What is it that you want clarity about?
Yeah, good question. Sometimes when I get upset in the relationship or confused, I want to talk about it. I want to find out where the other person is coming from. And in this instance, it doesn't happen. He just closes down completely. And then I get mad. I just get really mad. I just feel so out of things. And it's where I cross into that space where I feel just so vulnerable and lost. And I don't know if I'm answering your question right now.
So I'm going to say something and tell me, okay, if it's true or not. So
Okay.
So it's not really so much about the relationship, it's about what you experience when these things happen.
I could talk about the relationship because there's loads there that's going on. But if I don't look at how I'm reacting or responding, I don't think anything much will change. I mean, I got just so close to saying, that's it, it's done, it's finished. I don't want to process anymore. I just don't want to do this.
So it really has to do with you. What happens inside of you? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I really have reached a point in me that I'm really not prepared to take anymore, then that will be good to know. But if I'm dealing with this situation with resonances from, I came out of a very abusive relationship. So that's where I'm suspicious. Am I just being triggered? I don't always know.
Okay, so now we have clarity. So we're talking about what happens to you in these situations.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, I love that you said, I'm suspicious about my reaction. Tell me more about that. Like, how did that come about?
It was familiar. All day yesterday, I'm thinking, this is familiar. I've been in this place before. So, and it was almost like a crossroads. Do I just keep going on the momentum of that feeling of me saying it, that's it, it's over? Or do I stop and think, what am I doing here? I've just lost a place there.
So you were upset, and then there was like this little tap on your shoulder saying, wait, this is familiar to me. What's going on? And that stopped you a little bit on your tracks, yeah?
It did a bit, because in the hours before then, it seemed like I was absolutely clear in me that I'm accepting behavior that I don't find acceptable for me. And that was clear. But then when I reached that point halfway through yesterday, am I overreacting? I think that's what I was asking myself. Am I overreacting? Am I ready to throw something away that still is good, that still has potential?
Okay, so earlier in the morning, you had a decision. You had a decision, and the decision was, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because I'm accepting this, and this is not cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you got upset. Yeah.
I was already upset. Yeah.
You were upset. Okay. But then there was like this, wait, am I overreacting?
Yeah.
Has anything else occurred to you in that area? Like that question, am I overreacting? Has anything else? Have you thought of anything else? Like you have that idea, am I overreacting? Because this is familiar. Have you had any other thoughts or ideas or little insights about that since yesterday or no?
No. No, I just found it so strange that I was really clear, and then I started just doubting and thinking, oh, it's me making a fuss where I shouldn't be making a fuss.
And where did that come from?
That's what I don't know.
Oh. So are you really familiar with the principles, Flora?
Yes and no. I'm getting used to the principles, but I don't know how to look at them or use them for this situation or for this kind of situation.
Okay. Would you like to explore that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Kind of why I signed up yesterday.
I would love to start with mind.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know about mind? What is it? What's your understanding of that?
What's my understanding of mind? That's the everything. That's the knowledge, the knowing. That's the potential that's just everywhere around us all the time.
Okay.
Pure, clear. Yeah.
And does that feel like, okay, that sounds good? Maybe sometimes, or do you have a sense like, no, that feels really true to me in life? Or somewhere in between?
Almost theoretical sometimes. Like, yeah, it's there, but I can't always access it for whatever reason.
Okay. But you can see it at times and in moments.
Absolutely. I can access it sometimes. Yeah.
So the wonderful thing about the principles is that that's what you are in action. The principles are you in action. So, I love how you said it's the potential, it's the intelligence, right? The energy of life around us. And I would like to invite you to extend that to not only around us, but us, in us, and us. Right? So it's not outside of you. It's not that you're disconnected from. Although sometimes we're not able to see it in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Right?
Yeah.
But there is something, there's something that happens, I think, to all of us when we start seeing or understanding or realizing that mind that we're talking about is not an external intelligence, but that it is really woven through every fiber of our being.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
That's the bit I forget, that it's me, it's there. It's not just the pure potential around me, it's there in me as well. That's the bit I forget.
From time to time.
Yeah, especially in states of distress.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you ever remember it?
When in a state of distress, it's really difficult, but ordinarily.
Yeah, ordinarily.
And increasingly, because this has only come to me in the last less than a year. I've been working with these ideas. Yeah, until my head starts to trip up. I can't kind of get there. But I can also get there sometimes as well.
You remember.
Mm-hmm. I remember to think about it. I remember to think about the principles with situations going on around me, in me.
In you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you remember that little bit in ordinary moments, how do you experience life?
At that time, I can stay in a calmness, but that's difficult to maintain.
Yeah.
It's so easily dissipated.
Yeah. It's fleeting, like fleeting.
Yeah.
Like a shooting star. But you do see that during those moments, there is a calmness that comes to you.
Yeah.
Do you also know that most humans have that experience of really remembering that we are the principles in action?
Mm-hmm.
And we also have the experience of forgetting.
Yeah.
So that's common.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to tell you that.
Okay.
Okay. I want to tell you that sometimes we really remember and sometimes we really forget.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because as we explore this understanding, there seems to be a secondary effect, which is we tend to remember maybe more frequently. And sometimes we completely forget as well. Okay.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like the nature of the beast a little bit.
it is a bit. Yeah.
It's just kind of like that. So it's also the nature of the beast, the nature of the principles that you will remember even if you forget. Like it's interesting because you're like, oh man, I'm like really, really upset, and that's it. I'm done with this thing. And then you'll feel unsure, I think you said. The word that you used. But then, because you are the principles, that will always come back to your memory or to your mind. Oh, wait, hold on. And then you'll experience peace of mind again. So even if you forget, like you will forget.
Yeah.
You will also remember. You will also remember. Okay? You will remember. So what else happens to you when you remember? So you start feeling calm. That's one of the things that arises for you. What else?
Then there's no effort required then for a lot of the worries and the anxiety to drop. It can just fall away. It doesn't take my attention. Like the same things are going on, but I can stop not obsessing, but yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are calmer.
Yeah.
I'm calmer. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're calmer, and then also maybe what seems unsurmountable starts calming down a bit.
It doesn't seem insurmountable. It just is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, it could be a challenge, but not insurmountable. It's not going to destroy me. The feelings in overwhelm are like, this is going to destroy me. But I know it won't.
Yeah.
It feels like it's going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's very good, because when you remember, you realize, okay, this might be challenging, but it's not going to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
When we forget, it sort of feels like, this might kill me.
Mm-hmm.
And the feelings are really intense and loud. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
So that can be helpful for you, Flora.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of the things that's helpful is kind of to get more and more familiar with that. I'm going to tell you what that is. With this part, when I am experiencing the idea of this is unsurmountable, this is going to kill me, note to myself, I'm not remembering the nature of who and what I am.
Yeah.
That's it. Right? But it doesn't happen only to you, it happens to everyone, because this is how all of us function, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So as you experience clarity and calmness about something, right? It's clear to you, and then you won't.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't, it's helpful to remember what's happening. And the only thing that's happening in that moment, the only thing, is that you're forgetting the nature of what you are and who you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
What do you think about that?
I get that bit. But when I start thinking about how do I remember the 3 principles when I'm having a difficult conversation with somebody, or just in a difficult situation with somebody where I don't know how to apply the 3 principles in many areas of my life. And I think it would be really helpful to be able to do that with this particular relationship.
Yes.
I think that's where the 3 principles could help me most right now.
Yes. So one of the things about this understanding is that it is not a recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not a recipe.
Yeah,
I know. It's not a recipe. So there are some good news, and the great news is the principles are actually functioning all the time. You don't have to pay attention or manipulate them or say, okay, now this is what I have to do, because they're like natures of law. They're laws of nature. They're laws of nature of how we function at the most fundamental level. right?
Yeah.
So it would be like, like you breathe and you were born learning how to breathe. And you don't consciously, most of the time, have to say, okay, breathe, 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 or with the circulation of your blood,
Mm-hmm.
right? It does it. It just does it naturally. Perhaps I don't know if this is what you're referring to, but perhaps what you're referring to is the understanding. So there are two things happening. The principles are laws that are working all the time, working all the time, working all the time, every moment of our lives.
Yeah.
And then there is the understanding of, do we see that every moment of our lives? And sometimes we won't, and sometimes we do.
So it's seeing them, not trying to apply them, because they're there anyway.
Yeah, it would be, Flora, like you trying to apply circulation to your circulatory system.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know if you know this, but this is fascinating, but the skin of your body is continuously regenerating. It's the nature of how we function. So it would be like you learning about that process of how the cells of your body regenerate naturally, and you wanting to apply that understanding for something that's already working.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do anything about applying the principles to your life, because that's actually how you get to experience your life from the beginning of your life.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about how do I engage mind here so it helps me, because actually mind is what's giving you the experience that you're feeling. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I'm with you. Yeah.
So that's important. Okay. So a couple of points. Point number one is you are an expression of mind in action always. Sometimes you will see that and sometimes you won't. When we see that, there is a sense that we experience of presence in the moment, calmness, like you said, understanding that maybe things are difficult but not unsurmountable. And that's just remembering that little tiny part, right? And the other part to remember is that as we start learning about the principles, we need to remember that this is not like a recipe book. This is explaining to us, oh, this is how we function at the most basic level. What do you think so far?
Slightly confused.
Okay, what are you confused about?
I don't really know. This is how we function. This is how we operate at the most basic level.
Yes. Through the principles.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
And so that's living. It's like the cells of our skin are regenerating all the time. It's all happening.
It's all happening.
So the good stuff is happening.
Yes, you are the good stuff.
We are the good stuff. So is the other person that I might be having difficulty with or whatever.
Yeah.
But personality gets in the way of the good stuff.
It would only mean, I don't know, tell me what you mean by personality.
Well, if we all the time, this is happening, the good stuff is happening all the time.
Yeah.
But people don't relate to each other on that level of good stuff that's maybe happening. But personality takes over. I could have a difficult customer come in the shop. It's difficult then to hold my anchor and not be taken off center by the difficult customer or the dog barking at the window when I'm trying to sleep. Something will take, the good stuff is still there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
So do you mean that personality, I don't know what's your understanding about personality? Tell me, what is your understanding about personality?
Basically how we express ourselves in the moment.
Okay, so that's good that you said that, because that brings us to our second principle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How we react to the moment is based on thought. And so even the most difficult of personalities, what we would call the most difficult of personalities, are able to be kind. And even like the kindest of people can be difficult, right?
Yeah.
So what we know is this. What we know is there is what we are, the goodies,
Mm-hmm.
and there's thought, right? And thought is a gift of mind. It's an expression of mind that's continuously happening as a principle. It's a gift, right? And the way that I think about it is, and it has different flavors. It has like a lot of flavors, right? And some of the flavors create ideas, that some of them create experiences, let's say, that make us difficult. So all behavior that we experience, all feeling that we experience, comes through thought. And anyone can experience each other at a thought level,
Yeah.
And then we can start thinking that our thinking about ourselves and about the other person is a fact. And we forget about the other bit. Okay. So actually, I know that we all kind of have our flavors, right, of how we respond to things, but that's actually almost like a bag of thoughts that we have about ourselves. Do you know?
Yeah, I think so.
And we respond from that. And then the other person does that too. Right? And then sometimes we can be having a lovely conversation, a beautiful conversation, and I can get insecure. A thought can pass by my head. And I can get like, what if he's trying to take advantage of me, this man, right? And I can be like rapping right here. And that can happen to them too. Right? So one of the things that's helpful is to remember, when we have a conversation, what is most helpful is to remember the person that you're in front of has the same nature as you, fundamentally. The person is an expression of mind, thought, and consciousness. It has its goody part. They want to have a kind life. And they also are thinkers. So through their thinking, they can have moments of peace and compassion and moments of insecurity and upset and maybe aggression. So it's helpful to understand that, because if you start believing that their actions or their behaviors are who he is or who she is, you'll get entangled. And if that happens for you too, like if you, for example, you say, gosh, I'm just like finicky, or, I'm just too demanding or whatever. If you start thinking that that's what you are, you're going to get entangled. Because remember, the thing that you were saying is, when you remember that your mind in action, calmness arises and clarity happens. What are you hearing, Flora?
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to let you know we're about 32 minutes in, that sort of thing. So
Cool. Yes,
Thanks.
thank you. Okay, Flora, what are you hearing?
What am I hearing when you're speaking just now? Okay.
Yeah, what's making sense to you?
It is making sense to me. And I just got a little bit lost again, so.
It's okay.
Yeah. When you were talking, there were some things in my head that I wanted to say, but I've lost it just now. This is what happens a bit with me. I'm getting what you're saying. I'm getting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we can take a moment and we can wait. I know that we're at 33 minutes, Sheila, but we can take a moment and we can see what comes up from you.
You've spoken about mind and thought in connection to what I started talking about. And that was the bit I was questioning myself yesterday, how I've just let habitual thinking or old style thinking create. I mean, a ghastly night I had. I didn't sleep. I just let the whole thing take over. But all the time I kept trying to remind myself, but there's another way of looking at this. It'll come to you. You'll be calm. This is not. I couldn't flick a switch and get myself into a better state of thinking. And I sometimes wonder about all these thoughts that pull us down. Is there a way to sort of smooth back up into a higher or a better quality way of thinking? Or do we just have to go through these storms?
I think both. I think I'll tell you just personally how this.
Yeah.
There seems to be, just from what I've seen professionally and personally, there seems to be the ups and downs of thought. Okay, a while back I was talking to Judy Banks. And she was saying, Sid got upset and Sid got angry and Sid got whatever. I have experienced that. I think the people that I know that have had a lot of experience of learning the principles and teaching the principles, I have seen them upset and I have seen them worried and I have seen them caught up,
Yeah, I think that's probably the most reassuring thing you could tell me just now, is that, we're going to go through all of this. And there's rhythms. There's going to be periods where you think you've just lost all access to the principles, and in other periods where I think I've really kind of got a handle on this. Everything feels fine. There's rhythms. Things are going to change all the time.
Yeah.
And I think I forget that from time to time.
Yeah. And then, as I actually prepare for my coaching, like looking at my life a lot and reflecting a lot. And it seems to me like that also has had an impact in my ability to remember what's going on. You know, and then I forget.
Okay.
And then, you know, it's like, okay, then there'll be a little like tap of the shoulder, like you know, like you kind of, hey, hold on a second, there's something up here. Right? I'm like, oh yeah. And then blah, blah, I'm living my life. And then there's a moment where I'm like, oh, right. What's happened is I've had a lot of time to notice what's going on. So I may have a little bit my trust in how this works, because I've seen it so much. I don't even know if it's trust. I don't know what to call it. My certainty about how this works has increased.
Yeah.
You know? But it happens to us. But then we remember. And just like you had the tap of your shoulder, like, wait, maybe there's something else going on. That's the principles in action.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's really helpful.
Well, good, Flora. Because we're on time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being so open and willing to share with us what was happening with you.
Oh, thank you. I nearly bailed at the last minute, but I knew I wouldn't.
No, that's fine. This is what the last.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Flora. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you, Flora. Thank you for.
And thank you, Sheila, for the opportunity.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
You're welcome. A nudge from wisdom to obviously knew something that I didn't.
Just clicked that button yesterday.
Brilliant, brilliant. So glad you did. And yeah, Gabby, thank you. We had a class on the principles. Just perfect.
Yeah, that we could have not planned it better.
No, I know. In terms of, you know, the kind of when I had that whisper of wisdom of, you know, live coaching demo afterwards, when I was thinking about it, it was like, well, yeah, brilliant, because anybody that comes across this will then get a taste of what coaching from the 3 principles looks like, because obviously the book is geared towards transformational agents of transformation. So yeah, coaches, counselors, therapists, so brilliant. Thank you so much. And now the floor is open to anybody who would like to ask a question, would like to ask Gabby a question, or Flora even. If Flora's willing to answer anything, what it felt like as a coach, how it was for you and all that sort of thing. So please raise your digital hand and let us know that you'd like to, or make a comment, anything you noticed, anything that you have anything to say about, really. And if not, then I can do that too. But I'd love for you to join the party. Fatima, go ahead.
Hi, it was brilliant from the host and the guest, and I'm so grateful to you, Sheila, because the book is about transformational coaching, and this is really helpful for who we want to become. So I just want to suggest maybe for next week, if we can have another coaching session, because it's really what your book is about. And for newcomers like me, or even for more mature coaches, it's really helpful. So thank you, Gabriela, and thank you, Flora. And I was just so moved. This was my first comment, but the second comment is that I was so moved by what Gabriela said, that the biggest insight for her was change. And I just wanted to absolutely agree with her, because change is just one thought away. I'm currently enrolled in a program with Rohini. And the first homework was that you had to do a Facebook Live. And I was like, no way, because I have been hiding for the past 59 years. This is the first time that I actually put the video on after that transformational homework. And it made me realize that I have been hiding behind my religion. I have been hiding behind my faith and feeling very comfortable of not showing myself and saying to everyone, oh, it's because of religious reasons. And actually it was not. There was something about that. But there was also something about feeling vulnerable, feeling judged, feeling ugly, not feeling good, not accepting who I am, judging myself, feeling that I don't belong. Who wants to see a black, ugly face? Feeling of deep, deep, deep insecurities. And I just wanted to so much agree with what you're saying, Gabriela. And seeing that because of that homework made me, see that change is just one thought away. And it was so comfortable and so convenient just to use the face. Oh, no one's gonna tell me, no one's gonna tell me anything. I'm Muslim and Muslim women don't show their face. And I was just hiding behind that when in actuality, it was deep, deep seated insecurities. So I just wanted to share that. And I'm so happy that I'm able to show myself and to accept the beautiful woman that I am, and to continue to expand and to grow. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Fatima. That was beautiful. Put your microphone on, please. So bossy. I'm bossy sometimes. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, change is one thought away, and it's not change of what we are or who we are. It's just a change of thought, really, that allows us to see the reality of what and who we are. So thank you so much for sharing something so beautiful and personal and intimate.
Welcome.
Thank you, Fatima. With you 100% on everything you just said. So there's some messages of people that perhaps don't want to speak up, but Maria said she loved, Gabby, how you didn't get drawn into the content. I noticed that. I imagine a lot of people did. Beautiful. Do you want to speak a little bit to that?
Yeah. Well, I heard Flora very clearly from the beginning that, and Flora, you're welcome to turn your microphone and tell us, but I heard her say this idea about I have a sense, or I had a sense, or I had a suspicion, I think it was the word she used, that there was something different. And so that's what I was asking her a question about, okay, what is it that you really want to talk about? Because at first I was unsure if that's what you wanted to talk about or about the relationship. But I thought she did a really great job, because she was very clear that she really wanted to talk about her own reaction. And I don't know how that felt for you, Flora.
I think it's a choice that I've made. I've had about 24 hours since I said I would do this. that I could talk to girlfriends forever more about what's going on in the relationship, and it would be all content based. But I wouldn't learn any more about me. I wouldn't be able to move myself forward, and that's what I want to be doing. I see too many repeating cycles in my many years. It's just it's becoming increasingly important that I take the responsibility that's mine in these situations.
Yeah. So that was very clear to me. That was very clear to me.
Yeah. You picked up on that quite quickly.
Yeah, I think she was really straightforward.
Yeah, that's perfect coachee, right? Somebody who's open and willing and wants to look at herself and explore some more. Wonderful. Thank you, Flora. So there's a couple of really nice comments as well. Gabriela, that was so beautiful, soft and inviting versus telling Flora how to apply the principles. So incredibly powerful. Thank you. And thank you, Flora, for your courage. Your energy shifted so much towards the end. It was joyful to see. Yeah. And beautiful Fatima. Fatima, thank you for your candor. Thank you for your vulnerability. It was real and a gift to me, somebody's saying. Okay, well, if nobody has any questions or anything else they'd like to share, we can wrap up. Oh, Mick, go on then, Mick. Screeching in at the last second.
I couldn't resist. Before this session, when I knew it was going to be you, Gabby, my favorite phrase that you say has always been that you enjoy playing peekaboo with the divine. And to me, this was a perfect example of you exploring that in Flora, and bringing it out. And it was just beautiful on both, both from you and in Flora. It was beautiful to watch.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
It's funny the things we remember, isn't it? Because I don't remember Gabby saying that, but that's really funny, isn't it? And it's not in the book. Naughty, it's not much.
But I did say it.
You did say it, clearly. I'm reminded of you when you are the three principles in action. That's what I always remember you talking. And you said, I think you've said that to Flora today, like you are the principles in action. It's not around you. It's not something separate from you. You are the principles in action. That's you for me. Always. Well, thank you everybody for accompanying us on this coaching session. Hope it was helpful. I think there's a lot to glean from watching somebody who's been doing this for years and years and years. Lots to see, lots to hear, and lots to see for ourselves. So thank you, and thank you, Gabby.
Thank you.
And thank you again, Flora. Really, really appreciate you putting yourself forward.
And thank you all for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gabby.
Thanks,
I just wanted to say one little thing is that thank you, Sheila, because I know how, well, I know a little bit of how hard you worked, and I know the intention behind this. And so I just want to really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all your efforts and your hard work, because I really think this is going to be super helpful for many people. So
yeah, I hope so. That is my wish. That is my desire. Thank you so much.
Take
care, everybody. We'll see you next week. And I think it's Thursday next week. I'm pretty sure it's Rita Schufer. So let's see how that one pans out. See what wisdom comes and visits me and asks me to do for next week's session. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Gabby.